And now that we have the small key, we can go through the obvious locked door. Hi, Spike Trap, how you doing? The music in this dungeon is pretty creepy, too. I don't know, I like it. It's got a puzzle feel to it, a thinking feel, a logic feel. I don't know the name. See, those guys aren't BMOs, but they're not BMOs either. I don't know what to call them. But they spin around and they act just about the same way as BMOs do. So let's see. Obvious switch is obvious. Hello, Blue Rupee. How you doing? What you have to do here, hit the switch, and it'll change all the walls. Now, most of the time that'll block off the way you're trying to go next. But in all of these sections, you'll have a little circle that you're supposed to stand in to make shooting the switch easier. And if you wanted to preserve arrows, I suppose you could use the claw shot as long as you possibly could. I thought for sure I could get you before you turned around. And before we close it off again, we want to get this treasure chest, which happens to be the map, except we have it already, so it has to be the compass. See how quickly they give these things to you? I mean, we are already halfway up the tower, even though we have to make a return trip. There aren't too many places they can hide these things that you couldn't get to them until your second time around. And even so, it would be annoying for you to, because you sort of need these on your way up. Because you know your way once you head down. Because you've been there already. So let's head up the stairs. And Lizalfos! Of course! Up every staircase is going to be a Lizalfos. Speaking of Lizalfos... Hi buddy, how you don't actually look like one. You look a little bit different. Or maybe I'm seeing things, I'm not sure. Well, there's another circle here, which means there's another switch nearby, and there it is. Switch. I think I alerted the new enemy to my presence. Yep, you see the armored guy? He's not a Lizalfos. Come on, let me do the draw. Let me do the draw. I want to be all cool. There we go. It's good enough for him, but not good enough for this guy. Meet the Dinolfos. Yes, these guys have an incarnation in this game as well. And they are pretty difficult to attack. In order to open up their defenses, you really do have to use the shield attack in either the Helm Splitter or the... What's the name of the attack you roll around to do? I actually forget. It's the backslice. I always forget the name of the backslice. And another circle, so we have to do this. And there's another Dinolfos on the other side, I'm sure of it. I keep missing that switch. Did I ever say that I'm not the biggest fan of the enemy music in this game? You know, the music that you hear if an enemy is nearby, not necessarily when you're fighting them. I don't mind that music. But it's the music when an enemy is nearby that you can't see. That music I'm not really a fan of, because it lasts a little bit too long if you don't actually fight off that enemy quickly enough. Or you can't find them, or they're out of your reach, for whatever reason. It just gets annoying if it has to loop over and over again for a long period of time. And honestly, I don't think many of the tracks from previous Zelda games for, you know, enemy encounters are necessarily that good or that bad. It's just that you don't want them lasting longer than they have to. I mean, it's not like RPG battle music where you're going to be hearing it for a very, very long time over and over again. But you just don't want it to get annoying after a while, because you are going to have to deal with it for a fairly large amount of the game. Now, I'll deal with these guys later. I don't believe the treasure you get for defeating all of them is required, but it'll be easier to get later, so I'll show that off when I get to it. And up here we have a balance puzzle, which is also fairly straightforward, and you can see on the balances themselves the symbol for the light medallion. Remember, the Temple of Time did serve as the Temple of Light. The only difference was it wasn't actually a temple we had to go through in Ocarina of Time. It was just there. And another Beamos statue thing. And plenty of spike traps. You know, I'm not sure if those things have an official name or not. All I know is that they're really annoying. So let's see if we can wrap our way around the outside, because I already saw the spike trap pass me. And I know I can roll around this way, so there we go. And another one of you. Hey buddy, how you doing? You're dead now. I don't care if I take a first attack from those guys. The mortal drop just makes it easier. Because even though I've taken 3 halves hearts of damage, it only took me 3 A button presses to get rid of them, and I can completely spare the health. Health is not an issue for me. 14 hearts. I mean, I'm used to getting through the game with maybe 14 hearts. So health really isn't a problem. I'll take the hit if it's easier to kill these guys. Let's see, where's the rolling spike trap? There it goes. And over here is a statue that we want to bring over with us. Now, you could also just as easily bring over a pot, but the pots are breakable, and they don't want to make you have to reset the room if you accidentally destroy both pots. So they give you a statue that you can't. And we've made it up to the top of the tower already. Why? Yeah, an instance where running around while swinging your sword is actually fairly helpful. Destroying these guys. I believe they're actually called Goma larvae. You saw the Gomas, the spiders that we were fighting earlier. These are Goma larvae! And so let's just get to destroying the rest of these guys. The thing is, if you openly try to attack them, they'll start running away from you. Or I think just if you're close to them, they'll run away from you. It's also easier to destroy them with your bow and arrow, but I like to conserve the projectiles. Hi, buddy. And for our troubles, we will get a treasure chest which contains rubies that I can't hold in my wallet, so everything we did was completely pointless, but I wanted to show it off anyway. Sue me. Actually, please don't. I don't have a lot of money. Actually, I don't have any money. Don't sue me. It'll just be a waste of your own money. What is it with us Americans and suing people? We sue people for everything. We sue people for suing us. Can you do that? Would that count as defamation? You can definitely sue over defamation, but I don't know if you can sue for defamation over a lawsuit. Seems counterproductive. And of course, since we've reached the top of the tower, it has to be the mid-boss. Because we had the fade out and everything. Is that it? He's got a big axe. Maybe it's the darknut or something. Or maybe that could be it. Okay. He certainly looks more battle-ready than the statue in the background. Meet the single most difficult enemy to battle in the entire game. Now, we won't be seeing many of them, and I just like spamming the backslice on these guys, because even if he gets an attack off on you, you can still just dodge out of the way of it with the backslice. So I just spam it the whole time, or maybe it would be easier for me to get a shield attack so we actually knock some of his armor off first. And eventually, once we have some armor up, then we could start spamming the backslice. And you can see his armor actually starts coming off piece by piece, which is a very nice detail. But even if he gets a shield attack off on us while we're doing the backslice, we can still hit him for some decent damage. And he can't actually strike us while we're doing this. There is a very limited possibility that you can, but if you auto-shield like that, it really isn't an issue at all. But yeah, this is what I mean when I say I like spamming the backslice, but as long as you just do the sword techniques that the hero shade has taught you, you'll be fine. And eventually you knock off enough of his armor that he decides, screw it, just gets rid of it and starts fighting you the old-fashioned way. So what you have to do is open up his defenses, which isn't as easy to do as you might think it would be. Shield attacks are good for at just keeping up the offense is good for it, the backslice is good for it, but you're not going to really do any damage with the backslice. Just try to mix up your moves a little bit. I don't think there's any real strategy to beating this guy other than just using your sword techniques as well as you know how to use them. And eventually, if you open up his defenses enough, you'll be able to get enough hits. All I know is I'm going to have to start getting better at fighting this guy than I have been now, because... You know, the way he was holding his sword, it looked like he had an arrow through the chest. But down he goes. And he explodes for us, and we do the epic sheath. Hooray. And of course, the giant light medallion on the floor. How long has this been back here? Was this temple... Did this temple exist in the Ocarina of Time days? I want to know. Hello, next quirky weapon of the game, the Dominion Rod. We can move statues with it. However, besides this dungeon and story-related stuff immediately following this dungeon, it serves no purpose at all in the game. Really. I don't think you ever use it after this and the story-related stuff. But with it, we can bring life to statues by sticking a green light inside them and they turn green. This is so much like Wind Waker, except there's no command melody for us. We just walk with the stupid statue thing. And yes, it does mimic our movements, so as we go towards the door, it will follow us in there, and it will go to the bell, which is also lit up green. Go up into the bell, thank you. And it's magically teleported to the nearest bell further down the tower. So yes, we're going to have to bring the statue all the way down the tower.